Hi, everybody. This is Erica from In the Company of Cards. Happy Saturday. This will be my one update for the weekend. I know tomorrow is the Super Bowl, and I also think we could all, well, at least I could use a little bit of a break from all this. So this is my one update for the weekend. Of course, I'll be back on Monday. But at any rate, a couple of things. We know that tomorrow, that next week promises to be a big week in the whole Epstein situation. So I wanted to look at a couple of questions around that. Really, three questions altogether, all of them having to do with the Epstein situation. So the first one is the fact that Ghislaine Maxwell has been subpoenaed by the committee, and she will be appearing on Monday. She'll be deposed on Monday. And we know a couple of things. We know that she has submitted a habeas corpus petition. This is a petition that she did herself, claiming that there are 25 men who are unindicted co-conspirators. And her argument is it's not fair that in this whole situation, I'm the only one tried and convicted. And so therefore, I should be freed. I mean, pretty sure everybody's mother, including mine, taught us that two wrongs don't make a right. In other words, if they have been unscathed by all of this, how does that absolve her of her own culpability here? So one thing should have no bearing on the other. I mean, I agree with her that if there are other people out there, they should be brought before the bar of justice as well. But that argument will have no bearing on what she wants, because, of course, as we know, she wants her sentence vacated or to get a commutation. Uh, we also know that she has said in advance that she will be taking the fifth. And that means that she will refuse to answer any and all questions on the grounds that her answers might tend to incriminate her. That's the fifth. Um, so I guess my first question is, will we learn anything from Maxwell's testimony? We know that the testimony is going to be done by, um, you know, probably Zoom. I was going to say closed circuit TV, but that's like the olden days, probably via Zoom, and that we will not be privy to it. We will not be seeing it either in real time, or I would hazard a guess that we will not see it at all. But we can still ask the cards whether she will be giving any information. So, will Ghislaine Maxwell share anything with the committee that moves things forward? I'm going to look for her in the deck. She'll be the older woman. Okay, so this stands for Maxwell. So we have the key, we have the snake, we have Maxwell, we have clouds, and we have the garden. Now, I mean, I just think that the key mirroring the garden, I think all that means is that she holds the key to a lot of information that we would like to have. That's all that says. But the fact that she here in the center is flanked by the second card, which is the snake, and by the fourth card, which is clouds, tells me that she won't tell us anything. She will take the fifth, I suspect, for every single question. I do think with this snake here, she knows that she's in hot water. I've said before, I think she's gotten as good a deal as she's going to get. And I think that that deal will be less good once there is a change in the administration. So she should enjoy the puppy and the fresh air in the prison garden or whatever perks she's getting. She should enjoy that because I don't think that they will last. She will not um, be forthcoming with the committee. There has been no, for example, deals struck with her in advance. If you do this for us, we'll do that for you, as there was obviously when she spoke with Todd Blanche, the second in command at the DOJ. So this won't be that. I think we should not hold our breaths and expect that Ghislaine Maxwell will move the needle forward for us at all in terms of information. The other person who will be in the hot seat next week will be Pam Bondi, and she will be speaking in front of the House Oversight Committee, testifying on Capitol Hill. I'm pretty sure that that will be public testimony. So here's the backstory on that that leads to my question. Apparently, as you can imagine, the survivors are very incensed about the fact that there have been these huge document dumps with very shoddy redactions done, meaning that names that should not have been redacted, and they tend to be the names of powerful men and women, they're not, they are redacted, but that the identities of the victims have not been redacted in many, many cases. That there are identifying aspects to the materials, whether it's a name, whether it's a photograph. And when I say photograph, compromising photographs, right? Um, and other identifying information. Uh, who thought that was a good idea? We've talked about this before, but bottom line is that the survivors are furious because it was written into that law that the felon signed that that they would be protected, their identity would be protected, and that has not happened. So a group of survivors met with some Republicans who will be part of that House Oversight Committee meeting next week when Bondi testifies. Again, I'm not sure what day she'll be there, but anyway, they assured her, these representatives, they assured the survivors that they were going to really grill Bondi, that they were going to really hold her feet to the fire to find out how this information got out. So the victims came away, the survivors came away feeling satisfied that they were assured that that would happen. After that, apparently, the felon got in the ear of these Republicans and said, "Oh no, you will not hold Bondi's feet to the fire. You will throw her softball questions only. And if you do more than that, then you'll pay a price." So, first of all, so apparently, word on the street has it, because the word got back, probably from some Republican staffers, back to the survivors, that Pam Bondi would not be addressing those questions, that the emphasis, this is what the felon wants, the emphasis should be on all of the good things that the DOJ has done. I'll wait while you make your list of what those might be. Okay, time's up. And that all of the mistakes, and I don't know if these were mistakes in redaction, et cetera, and the lateness um, in putting the documents out, and the fact that there's still another million or two that we have not seen, and according to Todd Blanche, will not see. Apparently, those questions will be unasked. So, what I want to know is what will happen during that testimony. I think I'll use birds, and I want the birds to stand only for the Republican members of the committee. Will they, what kinds of questions will they ask Pam Bondi? That's what I want to know. That's the first question. So what kind of questions can Bondi expect to be asked by the Republican members of the House Oversight Committee? So we will look for the birds that will stand for the Republican members of the committee. Okay, so this is the Republicans on the Oversight Committee. We have the star, we have the scythe, we have the Republicans on the committee, we have the child, and we have the mice. I will say that, in fact, yes, their futures as lawmakers have been threatened by the felon. His standard threat is, we'll primary you. So your future will be, you know, not good. Here's the committee in the middle, and then we have the child and the mice, meaning that the questions are going to be way um, easier, child, than they should be, that they've made that decision because they're afraid for their futures. Now, I find this interesting because, well, I'm going to pull clarifiers on the birds themselves, and that's the Republican committee members. Let's just see what we get. Yeah. So, sorry. Um, so those Republican members, this is the card for, their career, their reputations, and they have gotten the message that their careers will be in trouble, in doubt, if they don't do the felon's bidding. So my next question is, since we know that she's only going to get softball questions, I'm just curious because can they not read the room? In other words, are they so siloed that they're not understanding that the tide is turning um, against the felon, and that you can't primary someone if the public doesn't follow along with that? Like, right? So, in other words, I think a lot of the felon's threats are empty at this point. That's how it looks to me. Uh, okay, let's just cut right to the chase. Why will these committee members not plow him under? Like, why are they still letting him plow them under? That's the question. Why are they allowing themselves to be bullied? In my opinion, it's two reasons. One or the other or both. Either, yeah, they still think that he can primary them, or B, well, one or two, A or B, that they have something to hide. I'm just, you know, asking for my friends here. Why don't they turn on him? And I think what I'll do is I will let Spirit pick all the cards, because why not? Why don't the Republicans turn on him already? Like, what are they waiting for? Uh, so we have the house, we have fish, we have birds, we have bear, and we have woman. This stands for the Epstein situation. So, I think that these two cards are flanking the rest of the reading to show that, Spirit knows what we're talking about. We're talking about, the White House's involvement in the Epstein situation. And why is that not enough to put him in a position where he needs to not threaten um, members of the legislative branch? Well, here they are in the middle. This is this would be the Republican House and Senate, and flanking them is money and power. That's what a lot of them want, and that's why a lot of them are there. Money and power. And by the way, I have to say that it's not like the Democrats are banging down the doors to get to the bottom of things either. Not really. I mean, there are certain ones who are, but as an organic whole, mm, why not? Why not? Let's look at the entire uh, House and Senate. Why have they not brought the House and Senate down hard on the felon and his administration? Why not? I'll just pull three cards, and I'm including here the Democrats. But you know, you've got other countries where people's heads are rolling, but not here. Not really, not yet. Why? Again, I think for the House and Senate as a whole, for that legislative branch, the rewards of staying in office are too high. The benefits in, not pushing too hard are too high. We have the garden, and that stands for the public. So I'm going to pull a couple more so that we end up with the garden in the center. And I'm going to pull, yeah. So, so this is the entire legislative branch. They like what they like. They like all the perks of the job. They like the power, they like the influence, they like the money, they like all of that. But in the center here is the public. And I know it doesn't seem like that, but it's true that they serve at our pleasure, at our will. We vote them in, we can vote them out. So Crossroads is interesting because Crossroads is taking another route. Like, yes, we care about power, money, influence, and we've used it and we've enjoyed it and we want to keep enjoying it. And should we go another way? Should we stray from the beaten path, they feel that will mean trouble for us because the whole thing will fall apart. Fact of the matter is, the whole thing's going to fall apart anyway. And people will remember which side people were on in the legislative branch. So, you know, the answer that the cards are giving me is pretty cynical. It's also pretty predictable. Uh, there are a lot of people in government who are out for number one. And until they cannot um, deny the will of the people, they're going to keep looking out for number one, which means that it's the people who have to keep this thing alive. Excuse me, as ugly as it all is, this is why we have all these distractions, in the hope that we will get tired of the Epstein thing and turn our attention to something else. And we cannot. We cannot. You don't get a lot of choices, I don't think, in life to redo things or to make amends or to make up for lost time or to go a different path. We chose the wrong path after the Civil War, thanks to the great Abraham Lincoln saying about the South, let's let them up easy. And this is why we're where we are right now in matters of race in this country, this great unattended to wound that has only grown and festered and rotted. Uh, Now we have this opportunity to address, the this network that is so widespread and sinewy and fibrous. It's like a root system underground, and we have an ability, an opportunity to cut it apart and hold people accountable in a kind of a Nuremberg type of way. And the world is watching. And it would be great if we could um, set the example and show the world what we're capable of doing. But we're not there yet. Maybe for us, we still need the example of other people, and we're getting it from France and now Spain. They are dogpiling on Elon Musk. He's going to have to either go abroad or he's going to have to, or he'll go to jail. That's what I think. Uh, it's a question of what side of history are you going to want to be on? So I encourage all of us to pay attention to Bondi's questioning, not just her answers, because we know that her answers will be, non-answers and will be for an audience of one, and that would be her boss. But I think what's more important is that we pay attention to the questions that she is asked by Democrats and by Republicans. And if the questions are not sufficiently um, serious and pointed and direct, we need to make our dissatisfaction with that known. through phone calls, through letters, through petitions, through the ballot box. So that's what I think about that. All right. I will see everybody Monday. Have a fun Sunday if you're watching the Super Bowl or you're watching the Olympics. I'll be watching probably both. Um, and I hopefully will have my voice back by then. What voice I ever have, but it's a little worse than it usually is. Thank you for all your kind comments about my time yesterday with Broom Closet Briefing. We had a really good conversation. I enjoyed it. She enjoyed it. I know you did too. And thank you, as always, for your comments, your likes, your shares, your subscribes, your hypes. Press the notification bell so you know when I'm going to be posting something live. And I will see you on Monday. Take care.